Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time for Running into Life, the journey of finding your fit and how being active can help you get up and over life's biggest challenges. With a woman, she's had a little experience with all that. Caren Ware, welcome, Caren.
Thank you. Today I'm going to talk about a different kind of shoe, not a running shoe, but a trekking shoe, and tell you about an experience that I did. I actually flew to Tanzania, Africa, and ran the Kilimanjaro Marathon. It's in a town called Moshi, which is at the base of Kilimanjaro. It is at the, I don't know if it's around the equator, but it is very hot and steamy at that base. And in Africa, there is a mountain, if you don't know about it, called Mount Kilimanjaro, and it is over 20,000 feet. So picture the world and its ecosystem. The world this way, Mount Kilimanjaro is actually a vertical mountain of almost all the terrain in the world. You start out in the hot desert and you work through the jungle and then you work your way up. And I call it a massive stair climb. So I brought on board today in this podcast because I thought it'd be super interesting for you to find out who the people are that trek. And my guide, his name is Epa. And we're going to introduce him. We're going to just chatter and talk about what it's like to be a guide, what it's like to raise a family there, what I took back and what I learned on that trek and what I brought back and why I started Caren Ware events, because it was really because of Epa and being introduced to the porters and the needs that they had and the villages. And I came back to the United States and I started Santa Claus of the Cause. So I'm going to introduce you to Epa. And Epa, introduce yourself and tell us what you do for a living.
Okay, my name is Epaphras Mgina. So in short, that's why they call me Epa. I have been doing Mount Kilimanjaro as a guide for about 25 years. That's what I'm doing for a living. And I have 4 kids. I have the 19 years old called Johannes. I have the 9 years old called Narcisius. And I have the 5 years old Narcisia. And I have the last one who is 2 years old, a boy called Tarcisius. So I have 1 girl, 5 years old, and I have 3 boys. What I'm doing for a living, I'm typically based on climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. So I do Mount Kilimanjaro as the source of my income, but still I'm doing it for adventure. So I love doing that Mount Kilimanjaro. It's where I met Caren Ware.
So what I did is Mount Kilimanjaro is a mountain that you can climb, and is also very close to all the animal safaris. And the end of February, that town of Moshi puts on the Kilimanjaro Marathon. So we flew there to run the marathon and then hooked up with Epa and his porters and then climbed the mountain. For me, of course, you guys always know that my heart is drawn towards cultures and people. So instead of just being a tourist and a guide, I actually moved over to the porters area and watched what they have to do to climb the mountain. And in order to get picked, they have to have, correct me if I'm wrong, they have to have shoes, they have to have gloves, a hat, a backpack, and a blanket. And some of the materials that they had were just meager. And I could show you pictures if you go to our YouTube channel that their backpacks were hand sewn, their shoes were tires that they had strapped together to make boots. So tell us a little bit about the porters and what the porters have to do to make a living. And the thing that really impressed me about Epa was his heart and his leadership and his ability and his care for the people that were porting. So tell us about the porters that carry the stuff up Kilimanjaro, and then what is it like going on a trek? Because you have to and tell how many days and all that stuff.
Okay, thank you very much. So normally when we are trekking Mount Kilimanjaro, we have some supporters that helps us all the way to make our clients get to the top. But the most important helpers that we have on Mount Kilimanjaro are the porters. So for the porters to make it happen, they also will need the same gears as guides and clients will be needing. So they will also need to have a nice hiking boot. They will need to have a sleeping bag. They will need to have a nice the backpack. Also, they will need to have all the gears like the down jackets, and also need the gloves. They will need also the ski pants. All these to make it happen to the top. But the main problem that the porters will be facing, normally we have come across this challenge, is that it's difficult for them to get like the proper gears for doing this. So we have some donations, and we have some second gears market that we can sometimes help get the porters get those stuffs, like some hiking boots, but they are used, and also like second hand, and also the backpacks. That's why, Caren, you found some of the gears were a little bit torn, because we get them second hand. So sometimes they are used for 1 month, 2 months, and then you have to replace. So we were very thankful for what you did for us, because you donated lots of gears for our porters, and also you have kept us doing that for a while.
It was really fun for me. I left my major Gore-Tex jacket, and that had actually been with me in a lot of the treks, and my down jacket, and they take turns sharing that for the guides and the ones that have to summit. And I see them on social media in pictures with other groups, and the jacket actually has a life, and it just keeps going up and down the mountain. And tell us how long it takes and what kind of journey it is, because you just can't pop up to 20,000 feet. Physically in your body, there's a lot into it. And one of the sayings that I heard, and I needed it in life and everything, from Epa was "poly-poly." And what he was telling me is, take it slowly, take it one step at a time, and that anybody, lots of everybody's, I think there's over 60, 70,000 people that summit this mountain every year. And if you do it in a healthy pattern, your body can adjust. And so tell us how you guide people up the mountain and how the days go.
Okay, thank you very much, Caren. So on Mount Kilimanjaro, the good thing is that before you climb Mount Kilimanjaro, we want you to get prepared, at least to be physically fit for doing it. But the big thing is to be mentally fit. When you come here, when you start doing Mount Kilimanjaro with me, especially Epa, normally it takes 6 to 7 days. That is an average, 6 to 7 days to get all the way to the top and come down. So it takes 5 days to the summit, 2 days going down. And the key thing that we normally tell our clients, because where you are coming from in Europe, in the US, you don't need to go slowly. Everything there is very fast. But here it's very funny when we tell you, go pole, means go slowly, because you need to acclimatize. Because most of people coming from sea level, some are coming from 5,000 feet, 3,000 feet. So you are shooting to 20,000 feet. So we say your body needs to acclimatize at some point, so that you can get to the top safe and come down safe.
So I want to let Paul interject, who's our host here at OCTalkRadio. And as we were introducing, he said he had a friend that climbed Kilimanjaro. And tell us, Paul, what your friend's reaction was when he came back. Because mainly I want you to hear not just the elements of it, but what the experience is all about.
Life-changing. Very good friend of mine. He's a lawyer here, about my age, which means he's not young. And he got divorced, and he decided he was going to go off and do some adventures and push himself and reorient himself, rediscover life, whatever you want to call it. He was driven to do. He'd never done anything like this before. He's in good shape, more than I am probably. But it was still intimidating. He went by himself, and he flew to Africa, and he took this journey. And it started a trek that he has never stopped. He didn't go all the way to the top of Himalayas of Mount Everest, but he's gone to base camp and some other places. He's gone up other mountains. This has become a passion for them. He does once a year. He goes someplace and now trains for it and gets. But he just did it. He just got on a plane and went there. And I said, that's intimidating. Just to go to a foreign country and to do something that daunting. I'm not sure I would do it. It does.
It takes courage, but at the same time, it teaches you confidence, and from there it opens up the world to you. That's what I want to talk about, the experience. And I want to talk to you about Epa, because the thing that impressed me is they sing. They sing on that mountain as they're carrying those heavy loads, and as he's guiding each person and every personality, I'm hearing songs and humming, and then they actually beat us up the mountain, and then they set up tents and a camp for you. at each of the levels. And it was an amazing experience. And to accommodate you, you have to have a roommate in your tent. And so I was roomed with a beautiful, petite little girl nurse from Loma Linda. And
Loma Linda, of all the people from all over the world,
yes,
you meet somebody from Loma Linda.
Go figure. And she was just beautiful. People loved her. And as we were
Epa doesn't know Loma Linda's like right next door here.
Yeah,
so.
things happen all over the world as I run into people like, wait, that's the town I'm from, or close to it. And as we're going through on, I think the second day, we started going through the rainforest, and it was misty and we were wet all day. And when we got to camp, I noticed that she wasn't coming in the tent, and she was just slumped over on a stump. And I went over to talk to her, and she's mumbling, talking to her head, and she didn't feel good. And I recognized it because I had taken survival classes in college. She had hypothermia.
Wow.
And her little body temperature couldn't keep the heat in. Even though it was hot when we started out days before, on that particular day, she couldn't keep her body heat because she was just tired. And so we went into rescue mode with her, as far as I had to take her clothes off, get her wet clothes off, get warm clothes on, get warm tea in her. And so it is a real trek. It is a real mountain. There are real elements on it.
Do people die on the trek? Do people get sick and have to get airlifted down? I can't imagine everybody does this easily.
You know what? It's so rare if you think 60 million.
Epa here.
Yeah,
Epa,
right. Tell us what you have to deal with on the mountain, but we don't want to scare everyone away. We want to encourage you to tackle it.
You know, but because that's why we say take it is pole. People will not understand. Pole is the number one cure, because when you go slowly on the mountain, it makes you acclimatize. The main problem with the mountain is the acute mountain sicknesses that we get on the high altitudes.
Right.
But you go slowly, and then you listen to your body, you go slowly, you walk, you hike, you communicate. And then what Caren says, if you have your roommate in the tent, you share it, and then at the end, you can find a solution. People still get sick sometimes. They get sick, but it's very minor, like normal symptoms of the high altitude, like getting a headache.
Right.
Some can feel nausea, but it doesn't come to that very severe. It doesn't come to that extent, because we know when guides are there, we can communicate in case if it happens, somebody gets a serious problem, immediately we evacuate to go down. But it's very rare happening because we know how to control it by just taking slowly. And also the thing of singing, that was Caren was saying. When you sing, you make people think as if they are not doing something serious.
Yeah,
you forget what.
That's a good point. You're just a bunch of kids out for a hike. Yeah.
It's such an enjoyable experience. It majorly is. And the neat thing is you get to know everybody, your comrades, when you get done. And there's all kinds of groups up on Kilimanjaro.
My friend said. He knew nobody, and when he left, he felt like he knew everybody.
Yeah, and even the other groups, there's groups there there was a group when we were up there, what were they? Women High on Adventure. And I hear this hooping and hollering, and I go trotting over to their camp, and I met all these girls that were celebrating National Day of Women by summiting Kilimanjaro. It was pretty amazing. But it's neat with Epa. Made sure I kept contacts with them, and Epa shared that he was struggling with with the health of his son, and I think it's your oldest son now, the 19-year-old, way back then, and they discovered that he had diabetes. And Epa was working his heart out to get medicine like every 3 days, and they were missing a machine that would monitor how they could regulate his diabetes. And when we found that out, I made sure that year's Santa Claus of the Cause made profit enough to buy him a machine. So tell us a little bit about that, and then about your schooling.
And what's life like in Tanzania? Is it hard?
It is hard.
Tell us about your life. How did you get into this? What's life like? And talk about the help that Caren gave you here.
Yes, life in Tanzania, especially for if you are just non-employed, you are working just on Kilimanjaro, and you are climbing Kilimanjaro just for the source of income. So sometimes it's hard. Life is hard because climbing Kilimanjaro is seasonal. So you do it from June to October, and then on November, December, you have nothing to do. And then January, February, you do it. And then March, April, May, you have nothing to do. So it makes life a little bit harder for that. So normally it gets a little bit difficult for us to overcome the difficulties of the life because we don't have like.
And do you live
life.
in, I don't want to offend you, but do you live in a city or a village? Or I'm trying to picture where you live. I'm trying to see into your life here.
Tell him where you're from, because I met his parents. And
I moved to Moshi. I was from the south, the town called Njombe. The village actually called Njombe, and then I moved to Moshi just to work on Kilimanjaro, where I found opportunity here. And then when I started living, I was living here in Moshi in the village called Bomangombe, and then I continued working with Mount Kilimanjaro. So I had all these kids when I was living here, except the 19 years old whom I got when I was living in Njombe. So when I got the 9 years old, who is diabetic, and then that was like a little bit challenge because we didn't know. It was quite strange for us to say somebody's diabetic at that age. So it was a little bit strange.
And do they have hospitals there, or is this remote and rural? I don't know what it looks like.
So we have hospitals. We have to move. We have hospitals. So we went, and the hospitals realized that it was a problem. And then I said, no, this is strange for the kid to have diabetic. And then I said,
our kids have diabetes because they eat junk food all the time here. Yeah.
So
and they're inactive, right?
Yeah, so that was a little bit strange. But when I try to share, so, when I get something challenging like this, like Caren now became like the best friend of mine.
Like the mom.
I said, let me share with Caren, and Caren will tell me what is this.
Okay.
And Caren said, no problem, that is normal. We have those cases here in US. So it's normal, so calm down and tell me what you would love to get from now. What are you struggling from? Then I said, I have this problem. They said we need to have machine. So I had no idea of this.
And the machine does what? Monitors his glucose level, his diabetes?
Yeah, to monitor the glucose level and to check the glucose level in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. And we had no clue about this stuff. And then Caren said, no, I understand, and I know all these stuffs, and then, Peppa, you will get this machine. And for the first time, I had to know that machine. It was right from Caren. Caren helped that very much.
So also I asked Epa, and that's what I do as we travel, as I run through the world and run into needs and stuff. What's your aspiration? What's your dream? And I just want to let people know that run my races, Caren Ware events, that they're actually helping us spread help and hope. And Epa said it would really help me to have a certificate or have a degree or something so that I have something to fall back on the times that we're not trekking. And he wanted to go back to school. So tell us about your schooling.
Yes, so I said we need to have something like a second hand because you are working on Mount Kilimanjaro. What happens if sometimes you get a point, let's say I get a problem with my legs, I get tired of climbing, or sometimes I have off days that I can't climb Mount Kilimanjaro. What should happen? Then I said, Caren, I would love to have, let's say, a degree of accounting and finance, something like that, because I like accounting and finance. So we sat down with Caren, and I said, no, let me go back to school. So I went back to school. So that was a very big support from Caren. So she supported me a lot. So I went back to school. I studied my first certificate. I did diploma of accounting and finance, and I did a degree of accounting and finance. So now I'm the holder of Bachelor of Accounting and Finance.
And I got to stop you for 1 second. So in this small rural village at the base of the mountain where you live, is that common? Does everybody, or is this rare?
No, this is amazing that we have a graduation hat on top of Epa.
Yes. Thank you very much, Caren.
Yeah. So I just want to let people know that Where in the World Adventures that we're just kicking off on the side is we're setting up trips to go.
You have more clever sayings. Finding your fit. Where in the world? Where in the world is Caren? And so where in the world Waldo.
And what I want to do is offer people the opportunity to experience this, because not only the thing that just blew me away, also what Epa says is it does safaris. The animals, if you ever watched Lion King, I thought, oh, that's excessive. There's not that many animals on Earth. There are in Africa, by the Serengeti, and when the wildebeest travel and migrate with the zebras by the millions.
It really looks like a National Geographic special here.
And we were in a tent And we heard a lion roar, and then elephants stomped by, and giraffes went running by, and ostriches and pigs. And it's an amazing part of our world that I hope that I can actually open up to people and get them to experience it. And what's the greatest experience is finding a guide and a person like Epa that is just so masterful at what he does as a person inside and out, and being able to take anybody behind the couch. We had a couple people on that trip. Yeah, and everybody, and just put one foot in front of the other and go do something so challenging as this and see the world.
What Epa doesn't realize, in our world, here there are 3 million people here in Orange County. 3 million people just in the county, just around us here. That's not the country. That's not the state. That's just our little county here. 3 million people packed in here, which means there's almost no wild animals anywhere. Maybe there's a rabbit and a deer or a coyote, but there's not a lot of wild animals. So my grandsons grow up, they've never, other than a zoo, they've never seen wild animals anywhere. They walk to school every day. They play outside or play indoors. So taking them to see real animals would be really different, really exciting for them.
So I actually asked them if I could run around the camp to just stay ready for the marathon. And
don't you ever just stay still?
But you have to get your legs running. And to me, that meant that go out for a long run. They meant inside the circle of the tents. And I took off on the run, and they had to go running after me. And they said, there's leopards out here.
You can't just go out there.
The Maasai came out there with sticks, banging sticks in the wood to protect me because I took off on the run. And
this isn't a field here in Irvine that you can just run through.
It's the real deal, and it's an amazing experience. So that's why I wanted to introduce you to Epa so that you can hear. Aren't you guys impressed with his English and his ability to communicate, because he knows that it's important on the mountain to...
What is your native tongue? What did you grow up speaking? What do you speak to your family?
I speak Swahili, Kiswahili.
Swahili. All right. I've never heard a human being speak Swahili. So say something, anything in Swahili.
Yeah, tell them they should all come to Kilimanjaro and use you as a guide, but say it in Swahili.
Okay, I would love to say, Karibu Tanzania po na rafiki wako wote.
I don't know what you said, but it sounds wonderful. I love it here.
And you should hear him sing. It's so melodical. It sounds like the heavens,
but what
honestly.
A brilliant idea to put people at ease. We're nervous. We've never done this. It becomes hard to do. And you sing like little kids out on a field trip. And that calms everybody down. Does that help you climb? How do you climb this? Well, I'll back up. How many times a year do you climb it? And how do you do it that many times? You must be in great shape.
Okay, yeah. You need to be in great shape because we do 2 or 3 times. In high season, we can do 3 times a month.
Okay.
So
is that just, is there a limit to how many times I can go up or go down? Does my body only take it so many times? Or is that just how many guides hire you? Could you go up every week or something? I don't know.
That almost is every week. It fills up the month. Because
a month you can go 2 times. 1 week you go up, you come down. And another week you go up when you come down. So it's 2 times a month.
And is that enough to feed your family for the year? Or do you have to do other things?
It's not only 1 month, so you can do that. Like in a year, you can do for about 8 months around the year.
And the rest of the time you do what? Now you've got a degree, but most people do what? Nothing? Do you raise animals? Do you farm? Do you do other things?
Nothing. Actually, it's nothing.
So that's why I did Santa Claus with a Cause. When I was going out with the porters, I heard them say, not that they didn't like Christmas, but they feared December because they go through non-income months. As he said, that you have non-trekking months in December, January, and then also right now, they're going into April, May, and they just have to either go without or do with what they have, and it's really scary time. So we did Santa Claus with a Cause so that we could send Christmas money at a time right when it's feeling desperate and give them a little gift at that time.
I am amazed that Caren has had these experiences. She's living the life that we all dream of. But what's even more amazing is she's bringing people along virtually through these stories, physically by helping us contribute and feel like we're part of this. Yeah. How do you have a foundation set up, or is it just you just take money from the race and send it to them?
So I just take money from the race and send it to them at this time. We're working on a Ware in the World Foundation, which takes a board and all that stuff, and I didn't want to wait for all the intricacies of doing
501c3.
Yeah, I just wanted just him gifting it out of my. I just had my taxes done, and they said that's not deductible. And I'm just giving it out of
you
my.
Just give money away.
No, I am giving money away, and I'm just gifting out of my heart, and that's just a portion of everything that I make. I turn around and give back, mainly too because when I went to Africa, I went through a situation that I didn't expect, and my accounts were frozen, and I had $20 in my pocket.
What?
I had $20 in my pocket.
And you're in Africa?
In Amsterdam when we were changing. I went to go get money out of the ATM, and the accounts were locked out. And so I felt that when I was in that country, I thought, these people also are not knowing where the meal might come from tomorrow or whatever. And I have a picture that rings super strong in my heart and my eyes. As the bus was going by, there was a kid walking down the side of the road out where the farms are, and he was filthy dirty, and he saw us looking at it and he put his hand out, not to ask for money, but to put his hand out to say, stop gawking at my pain because on my situation. And it just, without thinking that that $20 bill that was in my pocket, I took it out of my pocket and stuck it through the window, and the bus wind whisked it away into a ditch, and it landed right at his feet. And the look that he had when he picked it up, and I had that split second eye contact with him. Wait, you just did something to take away my pain, something real. And I had taken that $20 and put it in their currency, and I thought somewhere along this trip, because the trip was all prepaid for, luckily, and I just had to live on what they provided for us, somewhere that $20 is supposed to go somewhere. So I have made it a habit ever since.
You put it out into the wind. It could have blown any which way, but it blew to his feet.
And it just sucked right into that ravine where his feet is, and he trotted over there and grabbed it. And we had just enough time as we whisked by to have eye contact, and he had that in his fist, and he goes, and his eye contact said, you just helped me. You just changed my situation in a way, just for that second, and I couldn't take the years or
and I don't
what
want to sound awful, Epi, but $20 for most people here in Orange County is nothing. It's like a penny. They throw that away every day.
on Starbucks.
On Starbucks or coffee or a donut. This morning I took my grandkids to school and we got there early. They wanted a donut. We spent $20 just buying them donuts. And I think to myself, I want them to be happy, but shame on us that we're that wasteful that $20 could find a better use. So
how much does a guide make, not a guide, but a porter? I think they're only getting paid $5 a day to carry a load. Is that correct? Something like that.
Yes. For the porter, yes. Now it has gone to $10 a day.
Oh, good. That's
$10
yeah, when I was there, it was $5 a day. And,
it was $5 a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
You humble us with these stories. You intrigue us to see more and hopefully inspire us to help. If they want to help, Caren, you have an event coming up or this
so I'm
in a
doing,
couple of weeks
I'm
for
doing
those listening live.
Yeah, I do once a month, you guys. I put on a themed event here in Orange County, and I try to do a lot of them at Bolsa Chica, Huntington State Beach, and then inland. This one is actually going to be in Irvine in April. April 19th, the Rabbit Run. And we do
it's Easter this time of year.
And we do a whole Easter theme, and you get goodies, and it's a beautiful, fun finisher medal that's a rabbit and Easter egg. We do 2 races because some people are competitive, and so we do the OC Wild Hair Challenge 5K at 8 o'clock, and then we do a rabbit run that's just fun. We time it so that you know where your time is at, but it's a fun run for families. And then if you're super competitive and want to do a longer distance, like a 10K, you run both races and you get 2 medals. So you got to look it up, Caren, Caren.
And you give away some pretty good swag, T-shirts, medals.
Oh, absolutely.
The women that were in here said, I do it just for the medals. This is not just giveaway stuff.
They love this themed, all our themed races.
And people come dressed as rabbits and do silly things. So it's that part amazed me. Your themed runs aren't just for the hardcore. They're for anybody, little old ladies, little kids, families. Somebody had a pacemaker. Any pace you want to go at. Was it poly-poly? Is that what I say here?
They can go poly-poly, or they can go all out. Because I know that I'm one of them. That's why I'm wearing this. I just got back from the World Masters Indoor Track and Field Championships.
Wow.
And if you are interested in competition and stuff, there's actually age-graded masters competitions. Look up USA TF, and TF stands for track and field, and you're competing against other people within your age bracket. I'm over 60,
right.
So I'm 60 to 64, and that's just a fun thing. I'm going to tell you more about that on another podcast, not this one. But yes, there is something out there for everybody and anybody, and the cool thing is if we are active and inspiring and enhancing our life, let's turn around and just reach out and enhance somebody else's life.
Because it all somehow connects together. We are one big family here, and too often we think of our own world and our own family and all those around us, and to the exclusion of everybody else, certainly on the other side of the world. Thank you so much for joining us today, Epa, all the way in Tanzania. It's hard that we believe in today's world. We're talking to him live from Tanzania at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro. It's going to take me a while to get used to this idea here.
And then also to know that your heart's going to connect around the world.
Yeah.
This is my son. And I have another
Your
son.
Your family.
Yeah, I have family in the Himalayas, as you got introduced a couple weeks ago.
You have family all around the world.
Sit up in that guide and, connect.
Again, how do they connect if they want to learn about your events? Caren Ware events.
So you have to remember Caren with the C, with the word care. So
you obviously care. Yeah.
Caren. Last name is Ware, Ware, and the word event. Go look it up. It's a list of all the calendar races that we do, and it has a more information button, and it has a sign-up button, and just know that your proceeds are going to help us do what we just talked about.
And by all means, like us, share this story with somebody else. That's the best thing you can do. If you're moved by it like I am, certainly come out and participate. Certainly, if you can open your heart and contribute. But most of all, the best thing you can do is to contribute. Just tell the story. That's all we ask. Share the story with somebody else and come back and hear more as we continue to explore the world. Where in the world is Caren? Where in the world is Caren Ware? Thanks for joining us, Epa.
Thank you very much. You're most welcome. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to join this. Asante sana.
There you have it. If that's not an amazing story, I don't know what is. We got lots of them as we run into life twice a month here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.